Okay.
Good evening, classmates, Dr. Rodriguez and others from class 809, ELI 809, Leadership and Innovation. I like this week's assignment because it gives me an opportunity to talk about leadership, which is something that I think this class and this course is all about. If you notice, I'm in my classroom, and my background here are all 45 presidents of the United States. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is this: as leaders, the leaders are considered to be strategic thinkers who question the status quo. They have to challenge their own assumptions and encourage different and divergent points of view. This is Shoemaker, Krupp, Howland, 2013, a quote from them. Also, according to Val and Kemp, 2012, leaders have to be able to differentiate and also address both assumed conflicts and actual conflicts. An assumed conflict is something that you think is going to happen, you believe it's going to happen, or an actual conflict is one that you will actually have to undertake. Now, favorable and unfavorable leaders, which is the first question that we're asked to address. Have I? Yes, of course, as all of us have had favorable and unfavorable leaders. I've had principals and church leaders who, such as bishops and others, who were both favorable and unfavorable. One of the principals that I worked for ruled by absolute terror and fear. Her intimidation made the teachers uneasy and consequently made the students feel uneasy and restless because of the negative energy that she manifested. However, everyone was on eggshells, but the school performance scores went up, but the overall atmosphere was somewhat toxic. On the other hand, one of the ideal leaders, a leader that I worked for favorably, was a bishop who was a great man, a theologian, compassionate, principled, and often taken advantage of because he was such a kind-hearted man. Although he is now dead, he is still revered and respected as a great denominational leader. So I've had leaders who have had both positive and negative leadership characteristics. My personal leadership style is different. In the classroom setting, it is one way, but as a pastor, it's a little bit different. As a teacher, my leadership style is somewhat transactional, in that I consider being a teacher at times a transaction. I attempt to convey information, skills, and knowledge, and in turn, the students are to gain and to gain the information, knowledge, and skill that I present to them. However, as a pastor, my leadership skills tend to be more transformational and sometimes, I think, even charismatic, if I can say that. I've had to be a change agent in my present congregation because I've had to overhaul the practices, procedures, climate, culture. I've had to lead change in areas such as worship, finances, physical upkeep of the facility, and various other ministries that were not functioning up to par. Of course, that also means that in replacing some people, which of course brought about quite a bit of conflict, but learned how to deal with conflict resolution in the midst of some very, very staunch resistance that turned out to make the organization somewhat better. Now, how do others describe me as a leader? I think without being presumptuous, how I'm viewed as a leader depends on the circumstance and who you might ask. As a pastor, those in my congregation view me as creative, decisive, authoritarian, which is not necessarily good, but some do, and flexible, who embraces change and new ideas, but still maintains the traditions of the church itself. Now, there's sometimes I'm guilty of micromanaging, sometimes I'm guilty of ruling with an iron fist, but I try to focus on results-oriented leadership. Now, within my denomination, I'm looked at as knowledgeable, intelligent, sometimes positively. And however, I do know that there are those who might consider me to be narcissistic and arrogant and filled with hubris, but I beg to differ with that assessment. It's just that I'm often called upon to model and lead things that sometimes other pastors are not to do. And one of the things that the research shows is that leaders have to be bold and creative and, of course, self-confident. My ideal leader is a compassionate, courageous, confident, and creative person. An ideal leader, I think, has to be able to accept criticism and at the same time assess situations in order to make decisions based on relevant information and look out for the greater good of whatever the organization is. An ideal leader has to motivate, has to inspire and cause others to move in a different direction or to move at all, according to the research. In sports, I think that leaders like Mike Krzyzewski, the basketball coach at Duke, Nick Saban, the football coach at Alabama, are ideal because they focus on the process of doing the very little things very well. As a great leader, in my opinion, he has to pay attention to the slightest detail because it is said the devil is in the details. So the ideal leader has to be attentive to details. So what steps do I need to make in order to become a better leader? Time management is one of my major concerns as it relates to my leadership capabilities. As a pastor, as a teacher, my time is extremely valuable, but also it can be perfected and used more widely. Another area that is helping me to become a better leader would be in the area of follow-through and assessing progress at stages. Leaders have to be able to assess at stages and not wait until the end in order to come about. And I think one of the things that, in order to be an ideal leader, I will have to learn how to manage time wisely and to assess in stages and to reassess as time goes on. So I thank my classmates and thank you all for watching and listening. My references, as I said, are Shoemaker, Krupp, and Howland 2013, as well as Val and Kemp 2012. Dr. Rodriguez and fellow classmates, thank you for watching my video. Thank you very much.